record because I ain't start recording.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
No, I be trying to give like the chance to intro, but then like I know folk gonna show up on the scene already cutting up, so I should probably just be recording when we start. But here we are. But know that the fact that we both live in New Orleans but in a panty, so can't do all the, shenanigans that we want to participate in.
Just Lord, say it.
I'm going through the streets. The streets are calling my name. This the way. I'm going through the streets.
Yo, every time I be peeping your gram, you look like you've been having the time of your life.
In this house by myself. I was telling a guy friend of mine the other day, he was like, have you slowed down your spending? I was like, no. He was like, what's the last thing you purchased? I said, a trampoline? Like
a trampoline?
A trampoline. It arrives this weekend. If I'm gonna be stuck in the house, honey.
I'm really contemplating getting a Peloton or one of them freaking bicycles, because
Tatianna, let me tell you some of the largest purchases of the pandemic, and then I would love to hear about the largest purchase of the pandemic for you. The largest purchases of the pandemic for me, I mean, other than leaving New York and moving to New Orleans, I bought a treadmill, like commercial grade treadmill.
And you were about to get a trampoline and a treadmill.
And a hot tub.
And a hot tub. He said we didn't go into no motherfucking gym. We bringing the gym here.
Tatianna, what's wrong with y'all? We're in a panty. Yeah, no. So those are, and I took a trip to Jamaica at some point. So that was kind of yeah. I cut up.
You are living.
Trying to. We really in this. Well, I say we, but me. I feel like I'm still the only person that's still acting like we on a global health crisis. But
when did you move into your crib?
I moved here in January to this house, but I moved to New Orleans in July of last year.
Yeah, because you were in the French Quarter for a minute, right?
Mm-hmm. And then
I was like, how is she even living there? I thought about moving there for a second. And then I was like, yo, like, where's the supermarket?
No, so there's that. So this is what I was thinking when I made that decision. I mean,
it's fun. I don't blame you.
Quiet. Yeah. It's quiet, but it wasn't, because I lived above this restaurant, and the realtor that this is why they let me on my lease so easy, because he knew he didn't tell me the truth about the noise situation. I was like, I left Manhattan. I left Harlem to get away from noise, like in my apartment with me. I definitely did not move here to pay all this money to have this noise in my apartment. So God bless your ministry.
And this was from a restaurant.
Well, so they were seating people outside then, and they had this little space behind. I'm trying not to say the name of the restaurant. I'll tell you.
Yeah, no. I feel you.
They had this little space behind the restaurant, and so basically there's a wall behind my apartment. It just was like coming straight into my apartment. That's how. But when I say it was loud, I mean, here's a basic conversation any night. Oh my God, I would never date a Sagittarius. Are you serious? Like, girl, but not from inside my house, from outside my house, but like it was in my house. And I was just like, y'all gonna have to let me out this. If y'all can't do something about these 100-year-old windows that are like paper, y'all gonna have to let me out this lease.
So I'm imagining that your rent had to be significantly lower because of that inconvenience.
Is that what you're imagining?
Well, because I don't know, I'm from Bed-Stuy or whatnot. I don't know if you know that. And I was, I don't know how this conversation came out, but I was talking to a homegirl about it. And I think it was like while I was there last, we were strolling, and some of our favorite pubs and bars are like on the lower base of a brownstone. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, how do these next door, how do these apartments cope with having a freaking living on top of a bar, living next to a bar? And then she was like, oh, there's usually some sort of negotiation with the leases, rent's a little lower, or, there's some sort of like compensation for that. And I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense. If you want to live there, then you're going to have to deal with all this noise.
The answer is no.
Not in the corners though.
No. And here's the, but this is God though, because when I knew that I could not stay there anymore, I was like, okay, I moved to New Orleans to have a backyard for my dog anyway. So I'm playing myself a little bit, talking about, well, I'm just a block from the river. No, I want to open up the back door, let the dog go out. So that's what it is. I paid $300 less to live in this 2-story house, everything, than I was living in the quarter. I was paying New York rent living in the quarter.
And you was paying for rent.
I was paying New York rent living in the quarter.
For rent. Yeah, that's one of the things that I noticed when I was looking for shits in the quarters. I was like, is this justified? Because I can't get to know.
That's it. That's the.
And then the landlord had told me to award, or the agent was like, oh, you know, I had just shown this to a couple, but they were a little frightened because they were mentioning that the ambulance can't get to them as quickly as they need to get to them if they had an emergency, because it's the French quarters and things are cut off, or like you got buku people in the street. And then I said, oh no, I got this kid with me. God forbid something.
Yeah. It was cute. I'm glad I did it. I feel like I had the experience. And then it was time for me to live over here. So I still live, you know, I'm on the other side of the quarter. I ain't far, but I'm just out the way a little bit more. The way a little bit more. I was saying too, because I want to bring it back to my largest purchases during pandemic. What is the most ridiculous thing that you purchased during this time?
I don't know if it's ridiculous. So I do have a freaking large purchase, but it wasn't ridiculous. Now let me think about something. Fuck, I've just been buying a lot of unnecessary jewelry. Food. I've been buying a lot of food too, like ordering out.
Yeah.
I don't want to cook. I don't want to. So I've just been splurging on things that just make my life a little easier. So so now, actually, funny enough, you mentioned that. Now I'm starting to get into that point of the panty where I'm like, bitch, you haven't taken a vacation or nothing. You might as well buy this Peloton. And you want to go buy that other shit too? Go ahead, girl. Because I just moved into a bigger space too. So now I actually have the space to buy a bunch of shit that I couldn't fit into my tiny apartment.
You deserve a Peloton.
But I was like, yo, Peloton is like the most bougiest little purchase, because then you get this elaborate bike, but then you have to pay for a monthly membership on top. I was like, I didn't realize that. I thought it was all inclusive. So I was like, well, hold up. Maybe I should just get myself a regular bike and just go to the streets.
You could do that. You could get yourself a regular bike and then just get the Peloton membership.
Well,
you take them classes from your bike.
Boom.
You can take them $3,000 bike classes on your $1,100 bike.
Regular bike.
You could, honestly and truly.
Yes.
It is what it is. No, when I moved down here, I did know that you were from Brooklyn. And I wanted to ask you that. I wanted to ask you how you ended up in New Orleans. Like, what was that like journey that made you come down here?
No rhyme or reason.
Okay.
No rhyme or reason. I actually, like, mad people want to know what the hell happened. And well, I guess the main thing is the cost of living in Brooklyn. I wanted to live in property that I could buy. I wanted to buy property or just be in a spacious area where I can fucking live and not have to live with people, not have to have a roommate. And actually, as I was moving out of Bed-Stuy, I got really fortunate to find like the last couple of cribs where I had like a single apartment, and this Noah was living there, and it was pretty affordable. And then I was just renting out from these old Jamaican couples that, so it was really dope. But yeah, I wanted to buy property. I wanted to expand. And I just felt like New York was a little overwhelming. The gentrification in Brooklyn was a little depressing. I just didn't really find that I was resonating with a lot of things there. And I had been to New Orleans a couple of times just to visit, and I was just captivated by the culture, the history, the hospitality. It felt like home to me. I could just see myself living here for years. And honestly, it's like 6 years now. I've been so happy here. I miss home a lot, but every time I go back home, I'm like 3 days after, I'm like, yo, I'm ready to leave. This is too much. I'm ready to go. This is not the Brooklyn I was raised in. Like,
yeah,
you know,
talking about that gentrification, because I live in a neighborhood here in New Orleans that is, in fact, my house is, my house is gentrifying this neighborhood for sure. And then they just built another house across the street that's trying to compete with my house for being the house on the block. But it's trying. But yeah, there's this house across the street. And so you could see it. You could see like, oh, something's happening in this neighborhood for sure. Like they're really coming for this neighborhood. Right. And having said that, I've been, asking my neighbor, this Black lady named Joyce, who she be cracking me up because I have the security camera and doorbell.
Yeah.
So when I'm not here, when I'm out of town, if I get packages, Miss Joyce will send her man over here to get my packages. She'll hold them for me, and then she'll have them bring them back to me when I come back. But so I love that, and also she just be cracking me up, like thick New Orleans accent, just
baby.
Yes, it's so thick. I love it. So, anyways, though, I was talking to her one day about what does that feel like? What does it feel like to have lived in a neighborhood your whole life, or be somewhere your whole life, and just to see, like, oh, this thing that's happening right here, this means something. We know, or we know what used to be right here, or we know what used to be right there, and the fact that it's not there anymore, and it's been replaced with something that we know consciously is going to eventually try to edge us out of this space. Like how that must feel to like be from somewhere like Brooklyn and watch that journey for all those years of people coming in and trying to change the name, trying to call it something else, trying to
causing protests, calling the police. Like it's almost like an episode of The Twilight Zone, really. And a lot of people from Brooklyn, like we just mentioned, like they're not really from Brooklyn. So you see a lot of us moving. Man, it was like a massive exodus. I feel like when I left New Orleans, buku people started coming from Brooklyn to New Orleans to the point where in my old apartment, one of my old homegirls from Brooklyn ended up being my neighbor. And then one of our old homeboys, who's a rapper, started living downstairs. So we're like, yo, this is the BK building. None of us planned it. It was just like, then I was strolling down the block one day in the summer. I saw a cat from one of the bars I was just telling you about that he would always frequent. He's like, yo, I'm coming to visit. My homegirl Lizzie, I was thinking about moving to this block. I said, say less. This is about to be the BK.
The Brooklyn block. I'm from Sandusky, Ohio, so I'm not necessarily from a place that, and I don't have that kind of emotional connection to my city in that way. Yeah. I grew up kind of being like, okay, I'm from here. Thank you for what it offered me. But this will not be my forever. So I don't have the same like intimate connection to like blocks or streets or whatever. But I understand it deeply because I can't imagine having lived somewhere very historic, having its own unique culture. And then all of a sudden it starts getting edged out. Like, for example, I'm not from New Orleans, but when my neighbors be turned up, having their little porch parties, I just be like, honey, I just be like, okay, guys, it's time to go to sleep, but it ain't my business. It ain't my business. Y'all was doing this before I got here, I guess. Honey, turned up. And so I can imagine like what that must feel like. But also what I was gonna say though about like just that experience is the intention of leaving Harlem, which I always wanted to live in Harlem. I love that I had that experience. I wasn't there as long as I wanted to be there, but it's Manhattan and the specific intersection I was living on. I lived a block from the hospital, 2 blocks from a fire station, a couple blocks away from a police station. When I say the sirens meant busy, they meant business. And it was so overwhelming. And so also then—
How long did you live in Harlem for?
Almost 2 years. I lived there almost 2 years.
And you've been here for like a year and change, 2 years almost here.
No. I've been here for about a year now. Going on a year. Yep.
Wow, because man, I remember just as I was leaving Brooklyn that Harlem was changing in a major way.
It is.
Woo!
It is.
We're like, every time I go to Harlem, I'm like, what the fuck is this Whole Foods? What is this motherfucking theater? Like,
it is. It's something to see. It's something to be in Harlem. Well, I was just talking to Mahogany Brown about this the other day, about the audacity of putting that Harriet Tubman statue that's down there on and just a block or so from Frederick Douglass, putting it down there next to a police precinct. It's like, this is so weird. This is so strange. And also, that's a very gentrified part of Harlem. Very, very gentrified part of Harlem. So it's like Harriet Tubman standing like 10 feet tall in the middle of a sea of whiteness. It's like, what y'all feel like about this? What y'all feel like? Or when they changed that corner to Ruby D and Ossie Davis, like there's this intersection, this little corner, and pretty much no Black people live down there. It's like, what's wrong with y'all? This ain't strange to y'all. Like, this don't. I was just thinking about it's like James Baldwin Boulevard, Langston Hughes Boulevard. What's the boulevard after that? Anyways, it's like back to back to back, and they're all like these brownstones that, you know, like $3,000 for one bedroom, something real ridiculous. And it's like, do y'all know that James Baldwin is probably rolling over in that there is a street named after him that niggas can't live on? Like, it's amazing. But New Orleans has been so good to me. So good.
What brought you to New Orleans?
Literally, very similar story. I just
needed. You just wanted to wing with it.
My lease was about to end in Harlem. So I was like, okay, I want to stay in Harlem, but I need to move to a different neighborhood. And I just need a little bit more space. So what I was about to be spending, it didn't make sense. What I was about to be spending, I was like, I could go to Atlanta because I lived in Atlanta for about 13 years. I could go to Atlanta and get a house.
A house, exactly. That's what I've heard a lot.
Yeah. Like a house. And so I just couldn't reconcile paying that for when I know that there is a place that I could go and I could get some space for real. And so I just started thinking about it, like, maybe I need to move back down south, especially because I was very clear that this wasn't just the summer. This was about to be, like, at minimum a full year. We about to be in the house, out the way. And so I'm like, well, if that's the case, let me think about it. I had lived in Atlanta, though, for, like I said, for about 13 years. I was like, I did that. I always wanted to live in New Orleans because, I just visited several times, love the culture, love the energy. And I have felt called here, just even spiritually, energetically. But my dad is from Mississippi originally.
Oh, really? So then that makes it easier.
Yeah. But no, that made it harder because my dad was a scoundrel when he was growing up. So he used to come to New Orleans and do hood rat things. And so he was like, I don't want you to live in New Orleans. I know what New Orleans is like. I know what New Orleans is like.
That's when you was an old youngin'.
No, but even still though, like, cause we got people down here, whatever. He's like,
he's trying to protect you.
Yeah,
where in Mississippi is he from?
Meridian.
Oh, shit, country.
Yeah, from Meridian, Mississippi.
And I love it.
Yeah, no. So you said country.
That's why I was like Big Crit. That's why you mentioned that. I was like,
that's why I said Big Crit, but also because Big Crit really ain't never failed me. Honestly, I can listen to a Big Crit album from start to finish, and I ain't never felt like, I don't know, Crit. I don't know.
No,
that's my man. So yeah, but no, you said my dad country. My dad, the way he used to get to New Orleans is they would hop on in the back of the rail car and ride the train.
That's the life.
All the way to Louisiana.
Oh my Lord.
And then have to catch a ride some kind of way back to Mississippi at the end of the weekend so that he could go back to work. And I was just like, well, you were a nigger. I'm not about to be acting like that when I get to Louisiana. Like, so finally made it to Louisiana. And also, just in a drastically different situation. Like if I would have came straight out of high school, I would have been poor. I would have been living, just kind of struggling, whatever.
Yeah.
And I would have been here during Katrina. So
Oh Lord.
Yeah. But coming at this point when I got at least $27 to my name to live in a better situation, it's like I could live in New Orleans. That was also part of the reason why I chose the quarter too, because I was like, where I'm gonna move during hurricane season, that I got the best chances of not. And I came down here pretty much right before hurricane season. So it was a good situation for me then, just trying to think of like, what's the best place for me to be in so that I'm not super impacted by, the obvious that's
right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't really gotta think about all that shit when we move down here.
Yeah. No, when I tell you, it was looking at zoning, like looking at actual maps and zoning, like, well, this probably, if you're going to move over here, you probably need to do like this.
Right. What's the evacuation plan?
Honey.
You going to Houston? You going to Atlanta?
All of the above. And then this was my first time driving into New Orleans. So coming across that bridge, I've only ever flown into New Orleans. I've never driven into New Orleans. So coming across that bridge, I was just like,
well, people don't know how to drive down here.
How do I make sure that I never have to drive across that bridge again? Like,
yo, everybody's always bringing up some horror stories about that fucking bridge.
What do I have to do to make sure I never have to cross that bridge again? Have you ever been across the bridge?
What?
The Pontchartrain, is that the bridge that's like 20 miles long?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been across that bridge before?
Yes.
Never in my life will I ever. I can't imagine.
It's never ending. No, especially when.
What was on the other side of there that made you go across that bridge?
It was just to go to what's that town with the M? I think I was looking for houses to move out of town because New Orleans can be pricey.
Mm-hmm.
So once you leave New Orleans, you try to go to Slidell, you're trying to go here, you're trying to go there. But when I went across that bridge, that's when it gets real racist. So I said, oh, hell, fuck. I said, I'm breaking my ass.
That's why the bridge so long. It's giving you a chance to rethink it, honey. Don't do it, girl. Turn around, girl.
And then all my friends is like, don't drive that bridge when it's raining, honey. You get stranded.
My God, that bridge. Never, ever. I was going to say, one of the things that I never introduced this. This is a year of Black joy.
Welcome.
Yes. Welcome. 20 minutes in. This is a year of Black joy. Yeah. And I just wanted to have these conversations with like some of my girlfriends and my faves that I feel like we are doing such serious work so often. But the reality is, and last year, when everybody became Martin Luther King on the internet, everybody was a civil rights activist, but it wasn't sustainable. And I feel like, I know for sure that Spirit gave me this, that's not our business. Our business is Black joy, Black love, it's ease, it's healing ourselves, it's taking good care of ourselves. And so anytime we get to create conversations where we just get to be playful and ease and, talk about the things that's bringing us joy and making us feel soft, that is God's.
That's the medicine.
That's it, for sure. So one of the things that I would love to ask you about is, what do you do to stay soft? Because
I'm learning right now in therapy.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I
don't know. I didn't even realize how guarded and protected I was until I started going to therapy, and she was like, well, maybe, bitch. She's like, maybe you need to discover why you like this, right? And so honestly, that's not easy for me to ask. And I don't think it's ironic that you have been asking this, because it's been something that's been on my mind as a main theme for this month. Like, how do you soften up when everything that you've known was to be strong, to be hard, to be resilient, to protect yourself, from the gritty. I've just seen gritty things of the trauma you've experienced, right? What does it mean to soften up? And so honestly, a lot of that seems to be right now allowing myself to indulge in myself, allowing myself to saying yes to things that bring me pleasure, saying yes to taking a fucking nap, saying yes to, now I can't do these readings, saying yes to yeah, I can splurge, you know, saying yes to going out for once and not staying in and being like, oh my God, I'm trying to. And I'm still navigating that. What's been helping me a lot is just working on myself in terms of breathing exercises and meditations and consciously, you know, trying to clear things out. Finally doing the work that I provide to other people, really focusing and doing it on myself, giving myself readings, doing workings on me, connecting with my spirits and saying, I got to do this and this bath and this, all that, which I do, you know, just as a preliminary thing, like for protection and cleansing, but really going in and it's like, I need to move through this trauma. What does that mean to work through this heart situation? What does that mean to buy myself some roses and some flowers to go take myself out on a date to like, you know, work through the kinks of that. And so, yeah, such an interesting thing to navigate because I don't have the example of softness in my family or the women. They are like very maternal and compassionate, but they haven't been given that luxury or privilege to surrender and be at ease. So what I don't have, like, what is the blueprint, right? And then that also is a triggering thing for me because then I have to stop and be like, am I doing something subconscious to my child that she is, you know, then she's going to have to work through that when she's older. I don't want to impose that on her. And so I think a big thing for me is like, how am I being soft around my child? And how is my child, you know, innocence and wonder and playfulness and joy, like how is that a lesson for me to like put that in my life on an everyday basis? Trying to give a shit, trying to laugh more, trying to just be like, roll it off your shoulders, bitch. You know.
That was gonna be my other question. What, you know, which you kind of spoke to a little bit, how the revelation of not having the privilege of softness and working on that is like, ooh, what is this message that I'm teaching my child, right? Like what, so I was going to say, what are you doing, or are you doing anything to consciously keep, you know, Z soft? Because I feel like that's where a lot of us, you know, like I said, I recognize that we do such serious work and this was it for me. I do such serious work, but actually I'm a clown. And the revelation that people didn't know that about me was like, oh, you don't even know me then at all. Like, and so what is it? Why, but I talk about authenticity all the time, but people don't know me because they think she's so serious. I am super Capricorn. So there is that. I'm gonna get this money. I'm gonna have these strategies.
I'm gonna get this money.
I'm gonna have these strategies. I'm gonna do that, period. But also, I will put on a performance for my people. Like I'm talking about if I got to change and put on costumes, that's how hard I will be. Exactly. I'm here, period.
What's your moon?
Aquarius.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. And my rising is Scorpio, which is
really. Yeah. Oh God! So you must be feeling it at this time,
honey. Honey, this ain't my therapy session, honey. But yeah, so that like just that revelation of like, dang, I didn't even know that I wasn't being soft and but the thing that I said, and I would love for you to, you know, to say whatever you're just gonna say, but the thing that I love that you said was giving yourself permission to indulge, which is like when I feel just like one of my coaches was saying recently, we were doing some breathing exercises and she had me moving around in my body and she was like, don't just look for the places where it doesn't feel good and think about how you can heal that. Look for the places in your body that does feel good and sit with that for a second and give it a sound, like
embellish it,
like a moan, like relish in it. Yeah, like linger there for a little bit. So that's one of the things that I've been doing around my softness is like looking for like what feels good to me, even if it's fleeting, and then going and with that and like giving it attention. Like very quick example, I went to LA a few weeks ago because I needed to get away from Joanne for a week or two. And I needed to hop
You're gonna get used to.
I did. That's why I went to LA. And so I stayed in this hotel in Santa Monica for about a week and just went to the beach every single day and just spent time at the ocean and just, just was chilling. And one night I was laying in the tub. I had put these bubbles in the bathtub. I was laying in the tub and I thought about it. I thought about like, I'm from poverty. Like we didn't have no money. So the ability to just be like, I'm going to LA. I'm getting a hotel right on the beach. I'm laying in this bathtub. And so I felt it and I just squealed. And I just laid in the bathtub and just squealed for a little bit, like longer than my natural, normal self would probably have given myself permission to. Like I would have been like, I'm grateful for this. And that would have been that. But giving myself permission to be like, this is so juicy. This is so amazing. I feel so blessed. This is, like, and really sitting with that. And that's one of the ways I feel like I'm really healing some of my hardness. That's like, you don't got to be thug life every day. Every now and then you can relax and just like be with
so
it.
True.
Every day, honey.
You don't got to be thug life every day. You gave me something valuable there because it's so, seldom do we take time to really marinate in the goodness, right? Marinate in the little things that bring us pleasure, or things that we could be grateful for. Just saying that, like, wow, we grew up with nothing, right? So it's like to even be able to Instacart or some shit like that is like, well, I don't gotta go to the store, bitch. Bought myself 2 hours. Like, here comes I want to buy this organic shit now. Woo.
Out more and like ordering in Uber Eats, all this ridiculousness or whatever. It's like when I think about that sometimes, which is such a huge privilege, it could be really wasteful sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
It's such a huge privilege though. And I think about that, like I'm from no money, you know what I'm saying? My parents did a good job of not letting us know how, but I'm from no money. And so to be in a situation where I can order a $10 meal and pay $26 for it just to get to me, it's like a huge privilege. And I try to do more often, just taking the moment to be like, oh, thank you, thank you, God, thank you, Spirit, for this ability, because I know everybody ain't able, and I'm just, grateful for this capacity. It's so real. Yeah. The last thing, what you were saying about, about your daughter and her playfulness and, just giving those moments. What is one thing that she is teaching you, just in this lifetime or just in this time, in this season?
Being with her, just because we have so many similar characteristics and personality, as like, I think a lot of my childhood has just been like erased from my mind. And it's funny, like now going to therapy, I'm getting so much memory back. I'm starting to remember, oh girl, remember when you was lively and like rambunctious and spontaneous and creative? And it's like, you got to get back into that again. And being with Sahara is so healing, because a way that I soften up around her has just been articulating my emotions in real time, so that she doesn't just see the act of mommy being frustrated or something. But what triggered it was like, she started to learn, she has a little bit of a speech delay, but she's starting to pick up these things that it's like, who taught you that? She's saying things when she gets frustrated. She's saying, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, yo, sorry, mommy don't be talking about Jesus Christ. And I'm like, yo, when I'm upset, I'll be like, oh, Christ, shit, or something like that. And so I'm like, oh, let me explain to her, things that, when I flare up and I like want to pop her in the booty or something, I got to be like, yo, mommy's feeling really frustrated right now. Mommy's feeling sad. I'm sorry, mommy doesn't want to play with you right now, but I need to, mommy needs to reconnect and breathe, because I'm feeling angry and frustrated. And it's okay. And it's a part of life. And what do? We just breathe and we hold in this moment, and so we could release. And it's like a part of that is getting her to be emotionally intelligent and understand that this is normal. Mommy doesn't have to put on the mommy show 24/7 and be like perfect. But another part of it is like, yo, I'm talking to myself as I was a kid, and it's like healing my inner child, and it's helping me to soften up by acknowledging these emotions rather than acting You know, my first inclination is, you know, thug, right? So we don't really cry. We don't cry. I got buku fire in my chart. So my thing is like, ah. And it's like, yo, you need to like put boundaries on that and process what the initial trigger was and talk it out, you know, talk it out, even if I sound crazy around the house. So that has been helping me a great deal. She's been helping me being more self-aware just through her own existence and through her own innocence and how she gets frustrated at things and realizing, you know, is that her mimicking me, or that's just her like now needing to steer her so that this doesn't become like a blind second-handed response. Like she gets to understand that she needs to process things, you know, and she needs space just as much as I need space. So there's been revelations like that. And again, you know, shit that my family has never mirrored or taught me. That it's like, you really need to kind of create your own manual now.
Yeah.
And love has been the catalyst to me getting that together for her, because I want to make sure she doesn't have the same wounds, or is properly, you know, is properly supported for being a Black girl in this society, but also what's to come in the future. So it's a lot of that going on right now.
I love that so much. I love our generation. You know, I feel like more so than before, of trying to make sure that our children are whole people. and you know, the deep grace for our parents in the ways that they raised us with what they had. but somehow this consciousness for us that I don't have children out of my body, but I have nephews that I have helped to raise. And it was my nephews that got me back into therapy. Seeing my nephews maneuvering some of the things that they were maneuvering and kind of having similar responses from adults, like, was triggering for me. And I was like, wait a minute, this was wrong 30 years ago. It's still wrong today. We're going to have to figure out, you know, how to reconcile that. And really just making the decision that there was only so much that I could do for my nephews because I'm not their parent, you know, their mom or their dad. But what I can do is model a healthy lifestyle for my nephews, right? That they can see me being well and happy and or on that journey, you know, like, you know, actually pursuing my most authentic self, and that will mean something for them, even in the midst of a lot of the stuff that is, you know, still toxic and unhealthy about the ways that they're being raised. And I'm very grateful for that. That's such a huge thing for me, because recently one of my nephews, I was talking to two of my nephews about something. I was telling them, what I'm about to tell you is not fair, but it is what it is. And this is what you need to do in order to be able to still be in your body and be yourself, but maneuver this very unfair thing that's happening at the same time. And the 13-year-old said to me, Auntie Eb, I knew if you were here that everybody would be calm. And I just love that so much, because he's thought about this then. Like, if Auntie Eb were here, everybody would be calm. So at the very least, he has a picture of what calm looks like, right? So that hopefully
he has a reference point.
He has a reference point. Whereas for many of us, we grew up in situations where we didn't even know that calm was an option. It was just pop off. Yeah, just pop off. And that's it. That's the only option. And so I love that he has a reference point for calm, and that, dang, that just made me emotional in a way that I didn't mean for it to, but it is what it is. Yeah. So all that to say, I love that your baby, the love there has called you to like a consideration. Who am I being? And how is this going to impact my daughter 25 years from now? 25 years from now, I don't want my daughter in therapy talking about the same stuff I'm talking about.
Right, exactly. Bingo.
Like, let it be something else at the very least. Not this stuff, you know. There will obviously be other things, but don't let it be the same stuff I'm talking about. Yeah.
Woo! I'm trying my best to make sure that nothing she talks about is because of me. I was like, what can I do to make this the best experience for you?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I wonder if that's possible though.
And then that's another thing.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, you don't know.
Yeah, because my mom, like one thing about my mother, there are times when I have confronted my mom about different things that happened in my childhood. And my mom, for the record, is a Cancer.
Oh Lord.
Let's tell you how she responds. My mom would be like, I guess you just had a terrible childhood then. Ma'am, that's not what I said. I said this situation was XYZ, and I'm trying to reconcile that. Well, I'm sorry, I wasn't a good mother.
Oh my God, that's
it's the most Cancer to ever Cancer. But anyway,
it's good that you're not like integrating that and taking on that mom guilt.
Yeah, no, I did though for years, and you know, I'm the only earth sign in my whole family. So, including nephews and nieces, it's just me. So I have been, it's not consciously, but I guess I could even say that a part of why I moved to New Orleans was some of that too. I moved to New Orleans because I don't have a lot of water in my chart, and I knew that I needed to be near water, et cetera, et cetera. And I wanted to be able to be grounded in a healthy way and be in a space where, I could like be in relationship, you know, with, I could be the wind if I need to be. I could be all the things. And I feel like New Orleans has that. New Orleans has like all of those elements here for me to be able to practice some balance and not be so goddamn. I'm in trouble. What do we need to do next? Yeah.
Well, they call it the Big Easy, so your ass can be easy.
Yeah, it ain't been easy though for me to relax, but I'm working on stuff.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Woo! Okay, I don't want to keep you past your time, and also I'm gonna have to edit this at some point, so I don't want to be cut.
Oh, baby, because we just went right in like.
Well, no, it's just gonna start how it starts. But I appreciate you so much. I love you. You have.
I adore you.
Genuinely supported me on my journey in so many ways. I said this off camera, but back in the day when Tatianna used to do Skype readings, you don't do that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No, now I'm just, because the panini and everything else, I'm just like, send me your questions. I'm finna give you this video when I got time. Mm-hmm. I would like to start that back out again because I like the intimacy of talking to people and connecting with them, especially in person. So we'll see, because I have been craving that connection.
Yeah, it was. But okay, so now this is coming to my memory too as I close. I cried, and you was like, take a minute.
Oh, really?
I cried because how dead on you were. This is the thing. If you've never had a reading, I recommend Tatianna. That's number one. Number two, if you've never had a reading, one of the things that reading taught me, because it was my first reading ever. Ever.
Any type of reading, or a tarot reading?
Never anything.
Nope. Wow, I'm so honored.
My theological shift at the time. And I just found you and liked your energy and was like, I'm going to see what I'm going to see. And that was that. But what that reading taught me, I can't stand you. Blocked. What that reading taught me was that very often we come into the space with the answer, and the spirit just shows up to confirm and affirm what direction we, needed to head in. Like, stop playing yourself. And that's really what happened for me in that reading. I just got so clear about something that I was maneuvering through at the time. And you was right.
Thanks. Give thanks to your spirits. Give thanks to your ancestors. Give thanks, because that's what my purpose is, to help you. Good. Navigate your best version of yourself, find what you need to find, and to help you thrive.
It was good.
Yes.
You closed then by telling us one thing you wish people knew about you that they don't know.
Oh, shit. I'm fucking, yo, I think it's very similar to you. People don't know that I'm a goofball. And then I'm like a petty gay man inside of us. People, yo, my friends be like, bitch. People be thinking like you this bitch online with, let them hang out with you, you fucking crazy. I really don't take shit serious, and I be like, I really have a crazy sense of humor, and I think people need to understand that in the midst of me, you know, being a spiritualist and stuff, that's the fundamental core truth. And I think also, like, I don't be showing that. I just like postcards and stuff, and everybody's like, yo, you should really like, I don't want nobody in my business like that too, so.
That is a thing for sure. And one of the things that, as I'm maneuvering through that, because I feel like I want to come out the closet a little bit with how much of a clown I am. And, you know, so that I can be softer, so that people can take their own projections of what it means for me to be me off of me.
Right.
So I try to toe that line a little bit more often. Like every now and then, here is some shenanigans. And then I'll go back to being step 1, step 2, step 3. Step
No, Rhythm Nation.
Pull up. Thank you so much for your time. I love you, and I will see you soon. I'll send you the link of all the things when it's live.
Okay, my love. Mwah. All the love. Thank you so much.
Street soon.
Yes, we got a Kiki for real.
Honestly and truly.
Okay, blessings, baby.
Thank you, love.
Bye.